Hi, we are back, and today we're going to be talking about how to heal from toxic, abusive, and unhealthy relationships. We've gone through pillar one, and today we're going to start pillar two, and we're going to discuss the brain. So, in this pillar, there are three actual workbooks. There's the brain, the programming, and the thoughts. So, today we're going to talk about the brain. So, I just want you guys to know that I've experienced a lot of the same things that you have, and I wanted to know why I kept going back and why I kept being in relationships that weren't healthy for me. So I'm right with you. I'm right here where you are. So just bear with me. I'm going through the workbook that I put together for you. It's the exact process I used, and I'm not a doctor or a psychiatrist or a counselor. I'm just a woman who wanted to heal. So I did some inner work. I put in some time, and I learned as much as I could about why I kept staying stuck in the pattern. So bear with me, we're in this together, and we're going to be talking about pillar two, understanding what got you here. And we're going to be learning about the brain today. Okay? So you might ask yourself, why do I keep going back into relationships that aren't healthy? Why do I keep allowing people to treat me bad? And these are the questions I had for myself. And like I said, I wanted to dig in and figure out what those reasons were. And I figured out that my brain actually had a lot to do with why I kept staying stuck. What I learned is that the brain is wired to keep us safe and to make us feel good. So when you grow up, you don't get to choose your parents, you don't get to choose, coming into this world. You get what you get. And sometimes we're brought into situations where the people who are raising us aren't healthy, and they've made decisions that have affected our lives. You could have been born into a family that had alcoholism or drugs, or had abandonment experiences, neglect, emotionally distanced from parents or family members, and you may have had family members or friends or just people in general who, when you were a child, they didn't treat you right. So those things that happened to you stayed stuck inside of you, and you never really let them go. When we are growing up, we should be in an environment that's nurturing and caring and loving, and we feel safe and supported. But when we don't, we get ourselves mixed up, and you started to believe the things that were done to you. You believe the things that you saw, and you believe the things that you were heard. And those things never worked themselves out of you. They stayed trapped inside you. Therefore, you began to have a programming. They had a programming effect on your life. You were programmed a certain way based on how someone else treated you, what someone else said to you, or what someone else did to you, and you tended to carry that belief with you throughout your childhood, your young adult years, your teenage years, and now you are an adult, still wondering why you're hurting, still wondering why you have so much pain and why you keep letting people treat you bad. There's nothing wrong with you. It's how the brain works, and when we can figure out how to rewire our brain and download different things into us that teach us that we're valuable, that teach us that we're worth loving, that we matter, then you begin to heal. Okay, so rewiring the brain and not letting the programs of how someone else treated you or thought about you or said to you become you, because that's not who you were created to be. God made you perfectly in His image. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just learning how to not work from the program, from the subconscious mind. So with that being said, there's something in our brain called the amygdala that sits behind your ears, and the amygdala is related to survival and emotions and memory. So if you know that about your brain, then you can realize that the things you experienced as a child are connected to that part of your brain, and how do we get out of that that state of being, that state of mind. Because remember, the amygdala is designed to alert us to danger. And when you are a victim of abuse or in toxic relationships or trauma, your brain is trying to do the job of keeping you safe. So it doesn't want to take you back to those things that hurt you, that caused you pain. So you hide those things, you stuff those things, you go into this state of flight or fight where you try to act like they didn't happen. And that's how you stay stuck in a pattern, because you never release those things that hurt you, that caused you pain, that those experiences you had are stuck down inside of you, and you've got to let those things out. So in order to heal from trauma, we can't be afraid to go within, and we can't be afraid of the fear anymore. We've got to recognize it and realize it's not who we are, it's something that happened to us, but not to stay attached to that fear. You know, it's kind of like if you're in a room and you hear a loud noise, or you smell a smell, or you see something that reminds you, that takes you back to an experience, a trauma or something in childhood. You get nervous, you freeze, you become depressed, you sweat, your heart rate goes up, because those things that happened to you are still living in you. And we've got to learn how to interrupt that pattern, and how to form new habits and new ways of thinking. And we'll talk about our thoughts in the next 2 workbooks. We're going to do programming after this one, and then the thoughts. But it's mainly recognizing that you have to release the old emotions that you're attached to, based on them being stored in your amygdala. And the best way to do that is to learn how to think from a place of logic and reason. And when you do that, you become more aware of your feelings. And when you can become aware of your feelings and identifying how you feel and what's going on with you, then you begin to heal. You begin to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to stay aware of your emotional state, that you're going to acknowledge how you feel and try to figure out why you're feeling that way, and not being afraid to ask yourself why you feel a certain way based on an experience that you've had or something that's happened to you. Remember, when you allow your feelings to be dealt with and you go within yourself to heal, you're not staying stuck in that child state. You're becoming who you are. You're discovering yourself, and you're getting free. And you're realizing that your thoughts do matter. What you feel and what you think about does matter. And you begin to work through those things and process those things out of you. So in this workbook, there's exercises. But before that, I want to take you through the questions that are in here that you'll have to go through and answer in order to work through some of this stuff. And the description, the link for the course is in the description if you want it. It's all written down, and I'm doing my best. You guys bear with me. I'm doing my best to give you this information. So let's go through the coaching questions that go along with the brain and how it works and how we need to get out of these old programs. So the first question is, describe how you've been treated poorly in the past. Do you deserve this treatment? Yes or no? And how does being treated this way make you feel? Or how being treated the way you were in the past, how did that make you feel? So these questions are hard to answer questions, but they're going to get you to release some of those things that are stuck down within you. And then you're sorry, I'm getting all tongue-tied. You're going to ask yourself, why do you think people treat you this way? And why do you allow people to treat you this way? You know, why have you allowed the relationship you're in, or the relationship you were in, that person to treat you bad? And I found for me, it was because I didn't love myself. And as I went through these pillars, and as I started to discover that thing, that I didn't love me, it opened up the whole world for me. It changed how I saw myself, because I was allowing people to treat me the way I felt about myself. If I didn't love myself, how was I gonna have anybody love me the right way? It starts with me. And another thing I learned, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but this is so important, because when you're starting to heal, you realize it has nothing to do with the other people. It's about you and what you want to do to make your life better. You know, I had to say, what is it about me that I need to work on, that I need to change and fix? And it's not about fixing and getting someone else to stop behaving or doing something. It's asking yourself, why do I let them do that? And then searching yourself and finding out those answers. Let's see. A couple exercises in here are brain sinking exercises that you can do. So what you want to do is you want to get yourself out of that reactive way of thinking and letting your emotions take over. Remember, when we are queens, we don't let our emotions rule us. We're ruled, we walk with poise and with dignity and with strength. And when things come up, we deal with them, yes, but we're not overtaken by our emotions. So you can do some things that will help you think with logic and reason, which is found here by doing things that are opposite. Brush your teeth with the opposite hand. Jump up and down and crisscross your legs. Just simple things like that to get your brain out of that old pattern, that old way of thinking. Another thing is you can tap, your shoulders, your left shoulder with your right hand and your left hand with your right shoulder, right? You get the idea. So you're just doing things that are disrupting patterns that you've always been used to forming. That's one thing, little exercise in here that you can do. There's journal questions in this week, and the journal questions are, do you blame yourself for how you've been mistreated? And you really got to dig into that question and say, okay, why do I blame myself for someone else's bad behavior? What is it that makes me think that I'm bad or I did something wrong because of how someone chose to treat me, right? You're a wonderful person. You're a good person, and you're a person that wants to be loved and respected and treated fairly. So when you can separate what someone did that was bad to you from who you are, you begin to heal and you begin to grow. The other journal question is, do you carry guilt and shame? And if so, why? Do you carry any guilt and shame? And if so, why? Because remember, Jesus came to heal us and to wipe away every tear and to take away shame and just that feeling of unworthiness and that we're not good enough. I know I always felt dirty, and I always felt embarrassed, and I always tried to really hide who I was because I didn't understand that just because people did things to me, and hurt me, I'm not what they did, and I attached myself to what they did. I don't do that anymore, and just like you, I'm always healing. I'm always reading still and growing and learning, and it's not easy, but you're worth it, and you can get through it, and you can do it. The third question for the journal questions is, do you have a desire to know why you let or allow other people to mistreat you? Yes or no? And write out how you think your life would have been different if you had not been mistreated. And the trick with this question, or not the trick, but what I'm trying to get you to see is the life that you would have had if someone didn't treat you bad and misuse you or abuse you. You can still have that. You don't have to stay stuck thinking you aren't worthy of it or you don't deserve it, because the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords has already set in motion the life that you're supposed to have. From the beginning of time, He already gave it to you. It's yours for the taking. It's just for us to believe that we are worthy of it and to go for it and to not ever give up on who He is first. And if you don't know who He is, that's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there together. You'll begin to want to discover who your Maker is and who your Creator is as you heal, because you'll find out who you are, and you're going to want to know who's the one that created me this way and made me this way. And there's so many wonderful things that you have to offer. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that. I don't know everything. I'm not here on this channel to say that I do. I'm just here trying to help you with some things that I've experienced. And by the way, my name is Shena Major. If this is your first time to the channel and you've gotten this far, thank you. My name is Shena, and I help people heal and from unhealthy, abusive, or toxic relationships. But most importantly, we heal when we love ourselves, and that's what I want to teach you to do, and just teach you everything I know. So that's pretty much the gist of this week. There's some more questions. There's a candle exercise that helps you learn how to focus and work from a place of logic and reasoning. So that's in there too. And also some other questions are identifying some old programs that you're still working out of. Like you're going to write them down. Like, what are some things that you still do that you know that hurt you? What are some habits and programs that you need to break out of? Behaviors that you've held on to based on what someone else did or said to you. So you still keep replaying these things over and over in your mind, and it's time to break away from those. Question 3 on this journal page is, do you listen to your intuition, and why or why not? That still small voice that's inside of you is the voice of God. It's the voice of the Spirit moving through you and wanting to work things out in your life. Don't deny it. Don't give up on it, and just trust. Move forward, believing that you are already healed by His stripes on Calvary's cross. He's already healed you, and it's just taking hold of that and believing it and spending time with the Lord. That's what I do, and if you're not there yet, you're not there, but we'll get there together, But don't give up on yourself. And question 4 is, do you trust yourself? Why or why not? And as you go through and really meditate and ponder on that question, some really interesting things will come up for you. So I know they did for me, and the more I trust myself and trust who I am and learn who I am, I heal and I grow, and relationships become better and better and healthier, and life can be good, and you can be happy. You're going to have days where you feel sad and days you feel a little down, but overall, you're going to have that joy of the Lord, because that is your strength. That's where your strength resides, in Him. And if I didn't share that, I wouldn't be true to myself, but at the same time, I'm sensitive that not everybody knows Jesus. And we'll get there together. So that is week 2 from Pillar 2, the brain. And watch this a couple times. Hopefully it'll make sense. I'm doing my best to help you, and I'm trusting that you got something out of this. And I'll see you in the next video. The next video, we're staying in Pillar 2, but we're going to be talking about the programming a little bit deeper and a little bit more. Okay? So I hope it helped. And once again, you can find me at shenamajor.com. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the button and let me know. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.